You're listening to The Bird Bath, presented by The Fountain Report. I'm your host, Ryan Leach. Welcome back to The Bird Bath. Each week, we scrape the surface of the news you need to know, so let's get into it. Kicking us off this week is a major announcement from PetIQ. PetIQ is planning and has closed 149 of its 282 veterinary practices located inside of partner stores such as Walmart, Meijer, and Tractor Supply Company. When the company made this announcement, they cited a tight labor market for veterinarians, even as demand for pet care appears to have eased from its top level of where it was during the pandemic. The overall drop in number of clinics is more than half of the total footprint that PetIQ has in its traditional veterinary practice numbers. Now, PetIQ does still operate over 2,000 pop-up, what they call community clinics inside of different partner stores, and those stores are open during just select hours, primarily on Saturdays. They don't do deep physical exams or surgeries, but it is a supply that you'll be able to start continuing to see that brand around the industry. Now, if you're not familiar with who PetIQ is or where they came from, they started as a pet medications distributor and supplier, and then acquired VIP Pet Care, which introduced their footprint into veterinary services. They also launched VetIQ as well as PetVet, which is where they got their footprint into Walmart, Meijer, and Tractor Supply Company. Now, the company did not go into specifics on how many people were affected by the 149 clinics that were shut down, or did they hit on how many of the folks that were laid off or their location were closed were actually able to move within the company. But they did cite that quite a few of the employees, and as they said, a very high number, were offered generous severance packages as well as given different roles within the business. But if anyone has the specific numbers, we're always looking to track those down. Additionally, in the announcement, the CEO said that the company may convert some of the remaining 133 veterinary practices into pet grooming outlets as a way to be able to continue that footprint while allowing the practices and the businesses to have revenue despite not having veterinarians available to work full shifts. Meanwhile, within the same week, Chewy Vet Care has soft opened their first clinic. So we're seeing two different takes on the way that the industry is reacting to the post-pandemic numbers, and still seeing this drive or need to be able to see more veterinarians able to work with inside veterinary clinics. Stay tuned to this. There's a lot of things that are developing around this. We haven't even hit on PetSmart, Petco, or any of the other companies that are in the similar world as what PetIQ is doing. So stay tuned. We're going to have a lot more of these stories coming up this quarter. In a bit of a juxtaposition to practices closing, the American Pet Products Association announced the U.S. pet industry reached $147 billion in sales last year. They have forecasted as well that we'll continue to see year-over-year growth through 2030. The breakdown of the actual sales within the market were about $64 billion on pet food and treats, $32 billion in supplies, live animals, and over-the-counter medication, and $38.3 billion spent on veterinary care and product sales. The remaining $12 billion, which I wouldn't mind having that rounding error, was different services: boarding, grooming, insurance, training, sitting, all of those sort of things outside of veterinary care. Now, the AAPA president and CEO Peter Scott said, while there are signs of slowing, the industry is resilient, especially compared to other industries. This is something that people are always talking about with the veterinary space. It's not something that we want to jinx ourselves, but there are people that say that pet care is recession proof or maybe recession resistant. There were people that said that it was immune to COVID and that maybe it made it stronger, but it's something that should definitely be checked out. The other really interesting point in the presentation was that the APPA said that younger generations prefer visual media to learn about products, and that it will be important for brands to consider this as their top of funnel strategy. So that's why you'll see us at The Bird Bath on TikTok as well as Instagram. Make sure you follow along with us there. It's at The Bird Bath Pod. We're doing stories. We're carrying on with these stories, giving you some more visuals around it, and making sure that we can create more dynamic media for you to be able to enjoy what's going on in the veterinary industry. A tough story to hit on, but hopefully with positive news at the end, is the ASPCA is commending senators for introducing Goldie's Act to enhance protections for dogs in puppy mills. The ASPCA president and CEO said Goldie's Act, named after a dog who endured months of suffering under USDA's watch and tragically died in an Ohio puppy mill, will prevent thousands of other vulnerable dogs from meeting the same tragic and unacceptable fate. We urge Congress to include Goldie's Act in the upcoming Farm Bill to ensure the USDA fulfills its responsibility under the law and to taxpayers to protect dogs bred and warehoused for the pet trade. Now, the ASPCA isn't alone in pushing for this change. The bill has also garnered support from nearly 150 welfare, law enforcement, and shelter organizations. The story and the history behind where this bill was named after was a golden retriever named Goldie, who was in a puppy mill, and the puppy mill where Goldie died was operated under a USDA licensed breeder who racked up nearly 200 violations at multiple properties across Iowa. Finally, the U.S. Department of Justice stepped in with support from the Animal Rescue League of Iowa and the ASPCA, who rescued more than 500 dogs from horrific conditions. The breeder ended up pleading guilty to 2 charges of animal cruelty and was sentenced to only 30 days in prison. Now, I can't begin to tell you that I know all of the nuances and details of this. I'm, again, here to report the news and report what's going on. The news here is that the ASPCA is pushing and encouraging people to support Goldie's Act. There's a link in the bio so people can learn more about it. And I'd love to hear sort of where this goes and continue up on what's happening here. In perhaps a more positive light or a fun story is that fundraising news. 2 companies just secured major investments on both different sides of the businesses, though. So Loyal, a biotech company pioneering longevity drugs for dogs, who you've probably heard about, they are the ones that have told us that our dogs can live forever. Don't quote me on that. Recently, they announced that they've completed their Series B funding, securing $45 million of investment. The round was led by Bain Capital Ventures, and Loyal now to date has raised over $125 million in just the last 5 years. They had $12 million of credit facility included in that. Loyal currently has 3 drugs in development to extend healthy lifespans in dogs. What they call LOY-001 and LOY-003 are designed to extend the healthy lifespan of large breed dogs, and LOY-002 is designed for senior dogs 14 pounds and over. The company anticipates that LOY-002 will be available in early 2025, pending FDA conditional approval. I remember, I think, end of last year talking about 002 that they were talking about bringing. And when they said early 2025, I thought, oh my gosh, that's too far out. But we're already into the second quarter of 2024. This is coming, and it's going to be really exciting, and really hoping to see some cool things coming from what Loyal is doing. Another company that's not in Series B and not in Series A, and not even in their seed round, but they are doing incredible things, is VetVerifi. VetVerifi has closed their pre-seed fundraise, securing $1.5 million. Their investors are Bitworks, Market Square Ventures, InvestTN, Digitalis Mars Companion Fund, RGA Ventures, and the Mickelson Found Animal Foundation's Impact Investment Fund. Now, we've talked a bit about VetVerifi over the last couple of weeks, and they're a company that keeps coming up because they're doing some cool things. They actually just started with Leap Venture Studios in the newest cohort for this year, and they're doing really neat things about making sure that data and interoperability allows information to flow from different systems across the entire veterinary landscape. So congratulations to Loyal and VetVerifi. Looking forward to seeing where this funding goes. Finally, this isn't a late April Fool's joke, but it is sort of funny. CatGPT has been announced by the Cornell Feline Health Center. The Cornell Feline Health Center, the CFHC, is in the College of Veterinary Medicine at Cornell University, and they recently launched CatGPT to help connect cat owners with credible, science-based information in a novel, but not so novel for long, way. Users can ask the chatbot questions about their cats, get the answers quickly, and ask follow-up questions. CatGPT can even play games. So the goal here was taking a deep knowledge and database that the Cornell Feline Health Center has and making it accessible to a younger and different demographic than people that would go on and, read news articles or look at stories and participate in it that way. So right now, the CatGPT is available in OpenAI's ChatGPT App Store. It's one of the many custom-built chatbots that are in there, and they pull data from the different selected sources rather than just from the overall general internet. This is what you're seeing from a lot of companies actually that are introducing chatbots that are specific to their genre. This one's just a little more fun, A, because it has a cute name, but then B, because it's pulling from a really cool resource that Cornell's put together. Right now, if you want to access it, it does require a subscription to the ChatGPT Plus system, but we'll see if that changes in the future. So if you've taken a ride and explored CatGPT, let us know, or if there's another AI tool or chatbot that you're participating with, be sure to let us know. For more on these and other stories, join us by subscribing to the Fountain Report. There's a link in the bio, and don't miss out on any episodes by subscribing and rating the show. For the Bird Bath, I'm Ryan Leach. See you next week.